following podcast contains spoilers and words like and gosh d***. Mate, did we watch a thing this week?
Yeah, we did.
Hello everybody, it's B Dizzle here. As always, I'm joined by Toph, and that means that you've got We Watched a Thing in your ear holes. How you doing, mate?
Your name's Billy. It's Billy.
No, I'm the B Dizzle, mate. I'm the B Dizzle. I'm just giving the people what they want.
It's not a fact. It's not what the people want. It's what you want. You gave yourself that name, which
Okay,
you can't do.
Well, what's your name, Topher? Who gave you that name?
You did. You did.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I did, didn't I?
Yes.
It's a cool name, though. I mean, you are the world's second favourite Topher.
That's pretty good.
I mean, it's not bad. And I'm the world's favourite B Dizzle because there ain't no others.
Oh, well, certainly no one else that gave themselves that name. No, you could just go with Billy.
Well, I mean,
I think that'd be fine. You
know that Billy is also a nickname I gave myself, right?
Well, yes, because you hate your name, and so I don't force your actual name on you because I know that you don't like it. I'm here for you, man.
Well, I appreciate that. How you been anyway? What have you been up to this week?
Well, it's a work week, so I guess that.
Yep.
Not like you.
Not for me.
Yep. Holidaying bum.
Leave, mate. 3 weeks off. Just got back from Radelaide yesterday. Nice little 13-hour drive with the kids. So that's always a bit of fun.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and I'm going to see Godzilla vs. Kong. Morning session tomorrow. Absolute empty cinema. So we'll be doing an episode on that with Sam for movie reviews in 20 Qs, which I'm pretty keen for.
Even if it was not COVID times, that would still be an empty cinema.
Probably. Yeah. But we're not talking about Godzilla vs. Kong today, are we? What are we talking about, mate?
No, patron request this week. 1990s Bill Murray vehicle, I believe you referred to it as. The Man Who Knew Too Little. Hey, do you know what I did do recently? You asked what's been going on. I went to a bakery on Sunday to buy some hot cross buns. They had none, but that's not the story. This is the bakery. You know the university that's really near our place?
Yep.
So there's a bakery there, and as I was exiting the university grounds in the car, after not securing any hot cross buns, there was a couple of students.
Don't tell me that you saw Bill Murray.
And one of them... Well, I did not see Bill Murray, but I did see a uni student in a Pulp Fiction shirt. And I was like, there you go. Turns out that 20-year-old white males are the same now as they were 20 years ago. I felt weirdly comforted by this guy in a Pulp Fiction shirt. I don't know if he's seen Pulp Fiction.
You sure this kid was young? Because I'm a uni student now. Doesn't really mean much these days.
No, he was a proper uni student, not a mature age student.
No. Okay.
Not one of you pests who hand in assignments early and ask the extra question when the class is over and everyone's just like, oh, you dick.
Yeah, there's always one. It's like when you go on a tour and all you want to do is for it to end. There's always that one guy with his hand up. I'd like to know about the history of the trees.
And who somehow manages to insert into the question that he knows a bunch of stuff about the topic.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no one's impressed, mate. Just fuck off.
Yes, The Man Who Knew Too Little is a 1997 spy comedy film starring Bill Murray, directed by Jon Amiel and written by Robert Farrar and Howard Franklin. It's based on Farrar's own novel, Watch That Man, and the title's a parody of Alfred Hitchcock's 1934 film, The Man Who Knew Too Much. And what is it about, Toph?
A man, played by Bill Murray, finds himself in the centre of some international espionage.
Yes.
And hijinks ensue.
Now, I got to ask, as I said last week, this is a Patreon request that fell to your side of the fence. So I know nothing about the correspondence behind this. Did you ever hear from our patron as to whether they actually enjoy this movie and what made it come to their mind to recommend it?
Well, I didn't check. I didn't. No, after they asked, that was kind of it.
I kind of feel like they must be a fan, because if you're not a fan of this movie, you just wouldn't even remember it.
I agree. With this film was like, it wasn't a big deal at the time that I recall. And when I said to you last week that for me it was going to be like, effectively it was going to be like watching it for the first time because it had been so long. As I was watching it, I was like, I'm becoming more and more convinced that this is the first time I've seen this film.
Right. Okay.
I think I was wrong. I don't think I'd seen this.
I'm pretty sure I had. I definitely at least remember the poster. I'm sure that I'd seen it, but much like you, I remembered zero of it.
Because I'm a long way from being a Bill Murray completionist. Yeah. I love Bill Murray because I'm a person. But I'm actually 21st century Bill Murray is my favorite Bill Murray. I think his thing works just superbly in a mature body. And that's not to say that I dislike pre-year 2000 Bill Murray, but I've just liked him more and more as his career's gone by. And particularly in things like last year in On the Rocks, just kills it in that film. So good as playing someone who's old enough to be Rashida Jones's dad.
Yeah. I haven't got to On the Rocks, but I'm very, very keen to. And I'm a big Lost in Translation fan. Broken Flowers. I agree with you that I think his recent stuff where he's gone more into that kind of indie scene rather than the, I guess, slapstick Murray that he's known for. I agree. I've enjoyed him more and more. I mean, obviously, who doesn't love Ghostbusters? But yeah, I'm with you there. So on the film itself, for a first viewing, and given what we've just said, that you tend to prefer recent Murray. I mean, what are your thoughts? Let's get into it. Did you have an enjoyable time watching this romp?
I did have an enjoyable time. It's a Bill Murray movie. It's fun.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's thing, which is always just, like I said, love Bill Murray. I don't think that even the most ardent Bill Murray fan is here to say that he's one of the world's great character actors. He tends to be doing a version of the Bill Murray thing.
Yes.
And the Bill Murray thing, I think really works for this. What about yourself?
I'm not going to lie, I did not like it at first. As it continued, though, I warmed more into it. By the end, I was like, you know what? I actually had a fairly enjoyable time here. I don't know whether maybe my expectations were too high, or maybe I just maybe I didn't have proper expectations. Maybe I didn't know what I was getting into. But the first, I'd say 20 to 25 minutes, I was a little bit bored. I didn't think there was enough comedy for what is essentially a comedy film. And it is a very one-note movie. This isn't a movie that has a lot of jokes. This is a movie that has one very, very long joke. And I think when it leans into that, I think it actually works quite well. And by the end, I had an enjoyable time. But it did take me a while to get there, I've got to say.
One thing that I think is worth calling, if you really wanted, you could nitpick this movie for hours on end. But it's who cares? It's a comedy.
Well, what's the point in that?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
One thing that really did, as I was watching it, I was just like, really? That he's never met his sister-in-law? And there's a picture of his brother and his brother's wife. You see a picture of them clearly from their wedding day. They clearly didn't just jet off to Vegas and do this on a whim. They had a big formal wedding, which was Bill Murray not there? Was he not invited? Could he not make it? Had they never sent a picture before?
The whole relationship between Bill Murray and his brother in this film,
I just call bullshit on that.
I find the whole relationship very strange because they do almost try and sell it as if it's not an estranged relationship, but they do try and sell it as if these two aren't super close. But then at times, you really need to buy into the fact that, oh yeah, these two are brothers, they understand each other quite well. Even the very first interaction where after he supposedly has never met the wife, and his brother, I'm saying it right now, I don't remember a single character name from this movie, and the brother is talking to his wife about what Bill Murray is like, quite rudely, and then there's that, there's always that fun reveal. Arrested Development did it all the time where it pulls back and Bill Murray's standing right there and he's like, oh yeah. Like, for that gag to work, you need to believe that these two have quite a solid relationship, but the movie sometimes asks you to think they don't. It is, you're right, you could sit there and pick holes in it for days if you wanted to.
But yes, but then and I would stress this point, who cares?
Yeah, what are you doing with your life if that's what you're doing?
Yeah. Look, I can tell you one character's name because I have it written down here. Because it is Rupert Witherington, which is just one of the great English character names ever. That is some elite shit. That's incredible.
That's the kind of thing that would be on one of those like internet name generators. If there was like, like, what's your British name? Like your birth month is June, so your first name is Rupert.
Lord Wesley Smithington.
Yeah.
That's yours. You can start using that as your name if you want.
What do you mean start? I'm allowed to use it because you gave it to me, right? Because it's not me myself giving myself a nickname.
That's right, Lord Wesley Smithington. There's one scene in this film which is just a measure of what I imagine. I have no idea what it's like to direct Bill Murray. I've heard that in the lead up to day one of shooting, it's always a bit fraught because it's like, we think he's going to turn up. But it's always kind of a we think. But once he's there, what a delight it must be to be able to say, okay, I'll hang back here on like a loose medium shot, bordering on a wide shot.
Yeah.
Bill, I want you to play with a loaded gun that you don't know is a loaded gun.
Yeah.
And just do that for 30 seconds and make it fucking great.
Yes.
And sure enough, so good.
I agree.
So good.
I think the best parts of this movie are the parts where they do just do that. And I don't think they happen enough. Anytime that they really get into story, for me, is when it falls flat. When you just let Bill Murray play, and I think the best example, sadly, is the final scene. Like the very final shot. They basically just let him go for it as the credits start to roll. And by that point, you're like, how can I not be having fun? Like, Bill Murray is just hanging, and he's clearly having a good time. And like you said, even great Bill Murray fans aren't like, oh, he's a brilliant actor. He just seems like a fun guy. And when he's having fun, it's hard not to have fun with him. So I agree. I think when the movie really plays with that, that's when it's at its best.
I think you'll really, like, if you get to On the Rocks, I think you'll be really, really happy with the Bill Murray you get. And that is like, it is yes, as I've said, there's a lot of Bill Murray about it, but that is a really good performance.
Let's talk about Bill Murray aside, let's talk about the film itself. I actually quite like the quote-unquote plot of the film, and it's not original, something we've seen a million times before. I mean, this film is basically Galaxy Quest or The Three Amigos. It's that classic guy thinks that he's in a play, but what's happening is real. And I don't mind that general premise. I don't love how deep it gets into that, I think. And once you really get it, the final third, I think for me really, there's that fun stuff of him doing the Russian dancing and whatnot. There's also a lot of just kind of general gangster stuff that for me doesn't work. But what were your thoughts on the plot?
So I actually really like a lot of the, not necessarily, like you said, not necessarily the gangster stuff, but the more kind of high-level espionage type stuff I actually think works really well with the whole, because...
Yeah.
And, with the casting of these high-level British intelligence officers and politicians doing such a stiff upper lip, classically English thing, I think that works really well against just the absolute, like, off-the-walls lunacy of what is going on with Bill Murray. That stuff, I think, works really well, like, opposed to each other. And then, you know, that kind of comes to a head when he gets on the phone to these people. And it's like, well, surely this can't fail.
Yeah.
And in credit to the film, it doesn't. Because it's not like they can play off each other. You've still got to... That's, you know, those are scenes that come together in the edit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to the film's credit, I think they really do.
Yep. That's totally fair.
Shout out to, truly, in my opinion, one of the great scene stealers in Western cinema, in Alfred Molina. While, like you, I might not love all the stuff with the gangster characters, Molina... I think this is true of Molina across his career. This guy's ability, like, one, just a fantastic actor, but also his ability to be tuned into what film he is in.
Yes, yep.
And play it just right for that project, I think is some really, really high-level stuff. I mean, aside from the fact that, the most remarkable thing about Alfred Molina might be the fact that his name is Alfred. That's amazing. But I'm such a fan of the guy. I think, like, Alfred Molina could so easily be a bigger deal, I think.
Yeah.
And like sure, any movie fan knows who Alfred Molina is.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just like if one or two roles had gone a different way in, like, the early 90s or something, Molina could just be a giant movie person.
Yeah, he's a great character actor, and you're right, had things gone differently, he could be like the Gary Oldman, another example of a great character actor who somehow happened to strike big, which is, it is rare. It's not a thing that usually happens for people, you know, that you think of as character actors, but I agree. I think that he is, you're right, that ability to know, okay, this is the movie I'm in, this is what I'm putting into it. Yeah, I think he does that really well. I actually think that the majority of the cast are pretty good in this film, at least. Like who's the guy who plays his brother? Yeah, I really like Peter Gallagher in this film, actually, who plays his brother, and, you know, classic While You Were Sleeping. I actually think that he shows some pretty funny chops in this, I think. But he's also just smarmy and British enough to make it work.
But he's not British.
No, I know, and nor should he be, because he's Bill Murray's brother. But I think the point is that you buy that he lives in this society. Like, you buy that he's like the upmarket brother, you know? Like, I think he pulls that off where you can see them as being brothers, but I think that he's got a little class to him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And shouts to his wife in the film.
Yeah.
Duckface from Four Weddings and a Funeral. Great stuff.
I think the funniest scene in the movie is when Peter Gallagher's doing his presentation, and for some reason he just lets the voicemail stay on speaker, and Murray's just rambling about making out with this girl. Like, that was humorous.
That is humorous.
Now, I'm going to shock you here, because I bet you didn't think I was going to bring this up. But let's tick off some Billy Bingo. Can we talk about the score?
Sure. Go nuts.
Now, I couldn't tell you what any of the score for this movie was, except the Russian dance sequence, which is the theme to Tetris. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm all in on this, baby. Were you a Tetris player as a kid?
I was a Tetris player. I was big into black and white. You know, I'm talking black and white screen.
Yeah,
Tetris. I don't think I tended to have the music on, though.
Oh, well, I played a lot of Tetris in my day. Music on, music off, handheld, controlled, you name it. I love that theme. As soon as that started, I was like, oh yeah, I could jam to this. It made me want to play Tetris.
What's your favorite platform to play Tetris on?
Super Nintendo.
PC, or is there another? The SNES.
Yeah, definitely the SNES, because I'm a fan of the D-pad. I need the D-pad really to play. Like it's okay with a keyboard, and I would still beat you 9 out of 10 times because I'm very good at Tetris, but I much prefer the SNES.
It's a kind of sad state of affairs when what you're flexing about is I would definitely beat you at Tetris.
Have you played the new Battle Royale Tetris that Nintendo put out?
No, I've not heard of this thing.
Oh, it's amazing. You play against 98 other people, so 99 people playing Tetris, and you just have to, survive till the end. It's so good.
Massive, massive cut at one point in this film, post Dancing with the Russian Dolls, etc.
Yes.
We then cut to our two leads on the shores of the Thames with a bunch of money.
Yes.
And it's a really jarring cut.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. So it's like, were they coming out of a scene that was a bunch of like Murray ad-lib and then didn't have really an ending to this scene? Or did a bunch of stuff get cut? I don't know. But it is a weird cut.
I noticed this. I actually took it back because I thought I'd missed something because, I'd been in and out a little bit like dealing with kids and stuff, and I was like, and I knew that the movie didn't have long to go because it's quite a short movie, but I came in and they were there and I thought, oh, hold up. No, I've missed something important. So I took it back and no, you're right. It's a very, very strange cut. And then from there, it just wraps. Like it's really, really quick.
So in a fun little twist of fate, Billy, this comes out the same year as a personal favourite of yours.
Titanic.
No, I'm thinking of a film that I actually kind of like. How is Titanic kind of similar to the Man You Too Little? What's your through line there?
Well, I don't know. I always have Titanic
the game
on the brain. Yes, which I actually just rewatched the other night. Easily Fincher's best thriller.
It's just not a fact. Just so far from being true.
Yeah, you're right. It does have very gamey vibes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of a comedy game. So who would you rather be? Which world would you rather be plonked into? Would you rather be Bill Murray or old Sweet Cheeks from a previous episode? Sweet Cheeks Michael Douglas, we called him.
I'd rather be Murray. I mean, he gets to. It's funny, like when you think about the two, Murray probably is actually in a lot more danger than Douglas ever is.
Certainly, because Douglas's one famously is a game.
Well, yes, that's exactly right. Yeah, so Murray is actually in a lot more danger, but seems to be having a lot more fun. I feel like the game. I don't think I'd do well at the game. Like, if you bought me the game for my birthday...
Oh, you'd not do well.
I would not do well. It would be like 20 minutes in, and I'd be in the corner crying, I think. It's very intense.
Your version of the game is actually just that it's rigged and you're the first one that loses at Tetris in this new thing. And for like 24 hours straight, you try and be not the first one out of Tetris, but you won't quit. And that's your game.
Well, now come on.
And then you jump off a building but
game?
land on a big squishy mattress.
I don't think you would fare
How would I
better.
fare at the game? Sensationally, sir.
Oh, come on.
I'd kill it.
Think so highly of yourself.
My game would just be me watching sport and them trying to make me miserable. And I'm like, this is my weekend.
Yeah, I'm already miserable.
You dicks
are playing.
I'm already miserable. Yeah, this is my resting state.
Only in the game, there's no beer.
Oh, fuck. I'm out. You wasted your money. We couldn't, I mean, we couldn't do Bill Murray's thing in Australia, could we? We feel maybe unless our intelligence services are so good that we just have the reason we don't think of it is because they're that good. They're so invisible. But really, I just think that what are we bothering? Like, what are we spying on New Zealand? Don't think so.
It's so apparently this was a thing that was actually big in the 90s, was this whole, living play thing where you would just like a real life game. Seems weird. I'm not here for it.
No, so it's, like how to host a murder whatever thingy, just kind of gone to the next level.
Yeah. I'd be very curious, actually.
I've never been to one of them. I got invited to one. I didn't go.
Yeah, I've never been to one either. Maybe we should have our own one day. It'd be fun if you and I were there, mate.
Look, we'd make it work.
I'd be curious to read the novel that this is based on, because so much of this film, as you said, is just kind of letting Murray riff with it, that I almost cannot imagine how this would... Like, the book must be very, very different. There's no way that the protagonist in this book is as silly as Murray. I just can't see it working.
Yeah, I don't know when the book came out, so I don't know what
Same
kind
year,
of
apparently, 97.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So fast work.
Right. Because I was like, if it was a few decades older, like, could they be riffing on some kind of Peter Sellers type thing that was the inspiration? Or Steve Martin would be good at it as well.
Steve Martin would be great at anything, though. I'm such a Steve Martin fan. I'm much closer to being a Martin completionist than I am to a Murray completionist. Like, I probably have seen... I mean, it could be all Martins. I'm not sure. But it would be close to.
And a lot of him playing banjo.
Oh, I love him playing banjo. His version of Sunny Side of the Street is... I kissed my fingers just then. It's like I'm an old Italian man. It's bellissimo, my friend. It is literally one of my all-time favorite songs. He is so good at the banjo.
I feel like we're off track a bit.
How are you scoring this?
Look, I enjoyed it. It's not something that's gonna go into high rotation, I don't think, really. But I enjoyed my time with this film. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. It's a weird one because it's almost not really a film. It's similar to, and this was a big thing in the 90s, like lots of Sandler movies, for example. This movie is basically a skit. Like, you could see this movie working as a 6-minute SNL skit. I think this movie does a pretty good job of not outstaying its welcome. It never becomes so skit-like that you're like, well, this should have ended an hour ago. But I also I did get bored at times. So I'm a 5. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff here. Would I recommend it to anyone? No, absolutely not. If you didn't see this movie in 97, there's no reason to dig this out.
And another thing I'll just kind of say in credit to the film is that the plot, while if you unraveled the whole plot and explained it, it's kind of jumbled. But while it's all happening at every step, it's actually really coherent.
Yes, it is. That's absolutely true. Yeah. You never feel lost or anything. But you're right. It does do a good... It's almost that Big Lebowski thing where it's that nod to classic noir films where it does try to feel complex. Like, there's a lot of this and then this and then this and then this. But you're right. It does flow, which, yes, that does work well. All right. What are we getting to next week, my friend?
We would have to decide on that to know.
We would. I mean, we know that we're seeing Godzilla vs. Kong anyway. Is it uncouth to do our own episode on that as well as movie reviews in 20 Qs?
Good question. Don't know. Not sure of the podcast etiquette.
I don't know either. We've only been doing this for nearly 4 years. All right, well, dear listeners, we'll check with Sam, see if that's something we're allowed to do, and maybe that's what we'll do.
I was going to say, if it's not that, we should do Judas and the Black Messiah.
Okay, yep. All right. Next week will be either Godzilla vs. Kong or Judas and the Black Messiah. 2 very similar films, both very artsy. I'm sure that they both have a lot to say about society and the world we live in.
Real highbrow shit.
Highbrow. So either way, highbrow week next week, okay? That's what we're doing here at We Watched a Thing. All right. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all under the handle @wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing, and we will catch you next week.
Watch a movie, folks.
Oh, mate, you know what else I did this week, just for a little bit of fun?
What's that?
I submitted us to be a Rotten Tomatoes approved podcast.
Sick.
So that our ratings will go on the Rotten Tomatoes site.
But how does that work? Do they take the average of us or what?
Well, I'm not sure yet. I don't know if we'll get approved. Apparently, it's a process. But you need
I wouldn't approve us.
You need to have at least 4 episodes a week, which we do. You need to have been going for at least 2 years, which we do. And you need to have at least 200 ratings on iTunes, which we do. So I can't see a reason they won't approve us. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I stole the idea from Sam.
If we are approved by Rotten Tomatoes, it furthers my argument that Rotten Tomatoes should be ignored.
Well, I hope they don't listen to this then. Rotten Tomatoes, we love you. We hope you approve us. I mean, I stole the idea from Sam. Now, if movie reviews in 20 Qs gets approved, that's nuts. They don't really review movies. Like, how is Rotten Tomatoes going to average out a score when Sam is giving stuff like 13,000 out of 10,000 to a movie?
That's true.
Which is what he did last week. Just so you know, you're going to have so much lag to cut out. It's still going like 3 seconds at least. So I reckon if you just shift your whole...
You're cutting this one.
Oh, I am too. Yeah. All right. I'll make it work. Yeah. Forgot I was cutting this. Fuck. Let's hurry this up. I want to get to bed. This episode might have just gone completely uncut if you didn't remind me just then. All right.
I was just making sure I was recording.
I might have another drink and edit this, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you better.
Maybe I'll just chuck it up like this.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Lag and everything.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? The lag has finally stopped. Right now, you leaned back and the lag stopped. I'm going to have the best time editing this one.
I felt like it got worse as we were recording.
It did. Yeah. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of slippy slidey the whole way. And then right now, it's perfect.
Name your sex tape.